How's it going, everyone, and welcome. We are here for another leader tier list. I'm Connor, this is Rob. Welcome to Civ House, and it's July 2025. We're waiting on Right to Rule, and it seems like now is just the best time to go ahead, refresh our tier list a bit. There have been a lot of changes with patch 1.2.2, some even previous ones we haven't necessarily covered yet. And Rob, I don't know about you, but I feel like some of the leaders are definitely in different places than they used to be.
Yeah, we've had a couple updates to, I think, some underperforming leaders is what I would call them.
Fair.
We've had the food bonuses. We've had the city-state updates. We've had religion updates, food updates, new resources, economy updates. Like, almost the entire game has fundamentally changed since the last time we did a tier list. And we felt like now would be a good time because I think Right to Rule will probably come out sometime in the next 2 months or so. Maybe even at the end of this month. And if that happens and it, again, changes the game in a big way, we'll make sure to do an updated version of this. But we had a good time with our first two, Connor. I feel like now we'll have an even better time. We've got more time in the game. We've learned more about it. And I don't know. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right.
To do this again.
Well, let's just kick it off then, yeah?
Well, wait. We always got to do this, though.
Oh, yeah.
Member, shout out, Jacobian. Thank you. You guys can also become members and join us, join the Civ House crew. We do appreciate the support, obviously, and you guys get to do cool things. We will do another live stream here relatively soon. We've just been swamped over here at Game House with a lot of different things going on. A lot of weirdly game releases just within like a 2 or 3 week span of each other. So we're getting all that caught up, and then we'll go live again at some point in the future. Make sure you like and subscribe as well, guys, so you don't miss out on that. We're doing Civ content on a regular basis here, like 4 or 5 days a week, Connor. Cool stuff. So,
True.
Let's hop into it.
All right, we're starting off with the Ada Lovelace, Rob. So I'm gonna, each time we introduce a leader, I'm gonna I've got our last tier list pulled up. So I'll kind of reference what tier we had them in. Then maybe Rob and I are going, actually, we don't have a pre-made list, so we're gonna be debating this live. And by the way, this is just a quick caveat. This is for, I just had some thunder here, nice. This is for deity or immortal game, so high-level AI gameplay, not multiplayer. And this is meant to be something for all kind of skill levels of players. Basically, we're rating based on how overtuned we think the leader is in relation to the other options. So, Ada is one that last time we had an S tier, kind of at the bottom of S tier. Rob, what are you thinking about Ada? Is it upward, downward movement? Do we keep the same? What are your initial thoughts?
I think she's the same. I don't think she's been affected by some of the changes that have been made, but that doesn't necessarily make her weaker as it would for some other leaders. I have seen some other tier lists out there that have her in like an A or a B tier. I still think she's really strong. I think that combo of science and culture and being able to kind of stack them together, I think is really strong. I've really, when I'm making different leaders for us on the channel, Connor, like that's one of the things that I try to do because I think it is very, very strong. And I think it's a good way to complement, kind of the way that the game is naturally played, especially with all of the new changes as well, with like legacy paths changing and everything like that. This has not been affected at all. So whether you're playing with them on or off, I think she's still very strong.
Yeah, I'll stick with that as well. So we'll keep Ada in S tier. We'll see where in S tier she ends up landing. Might be towards the back. I think if I were to, look ahead at what we've still got to rank, but Ada still maintaining a strong presence here on the board. That's going to get us next to Amina, who we previously had in C tier, so not a super high ranking. I don't know. I feel like there are some changes to economy. I think especially to make the exploration age economy path a little bit more viable. You might see Amina stocks going up a little bit. That being said, I think there are other really good economic options as well. But I don't know, Rob. I think we can move Amina up to B tier here. What do you think?
I'm not really convinced with her. I still think the second half of her ability, the combat strength on units in plains and deserts, I think is still pretty underwhelming.
Bit niche, yeah.
I would like to see that changed. Yeah, I think because you got to think about it this way, right? When you're doing a tier list, like we're not intentionally doing a bell curve, but you have to kind of keep in mind where else you think other leaders might go.
Sure.
She's another one that, while I do think she got a bit of a boost with the economic portion of it, there's not really much else, right? Like she's getting those resource capacity automatically. That's great. That didn't change. She's getting the 1 gold per age. I just don't I don't see her moving the needle too much. I'd be willing to put her at the bottom of B tier, but like
Let's stick
that
with C.
might be one I'd be willing to move down to C.
Let's do C then. I was kind of teetering as well, so let's just go C tier. Again, we can do a little bit of, shifting around at the end, maybe if once this all settles out and we feel a certain way, we can always make some changes. It's our tier list, right? All right.
That's true.
We've got the Ashokas up next. I forget which one is the purple and which one's the red.
World Conqueror.
World Conqueror is the purple. All right, yeah.
Next, yes.
So this is one that we had right in the middle of B tier last time, right above Charlemagne, below Simon Bolivar, and I remember that placement being a little bit tough. This is another one. I mean, to be honest, Rob, this is not a leader that I play very much, so I mean, this is a bit underwhelming for me to rank. But that being said, I think he's still got a good kit, solid military option. I think that's kind of where we ended last time, was like he's just in this kind of middle pool of military leaders.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely say that, but I do think that he is maybe a little bit better than that. Give me just a second here, because I feel like, didn't he get some sort of buff? Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I'm looking now. He did not. He was not one of the ones that got a buff. I still think that production is really strong right now. You getting the automatic celebrations is pretty good, and the combat strength against districts. Now, that's pretty good against, people who are going to be playing more of those fortified districts. And we got towns. Also, the fortified towns got updated as well. I actually think I'd move him up just a bit, maybe to the top of B, low A, honestly. I still think that he's pretty solid within that range, and I think he's a leader that I've played a little bit of in the past, and he still feels really good. Like, those production bonuses are really nice. Yeah. I've learned how to play with happiness a little bit better, and be able to really utilize those celebrations. You're getting that, those settlements not founded by you as well.
Let's go top of
A.
Let's go. I was gonna say let's go top of B for now.
Okay.
We could go top of A. But the reason why I'm saying that is last time when we made our list, we had 7 leaders in A and B tier, only 5 in basically all the rest of the tiers. So we have kind of a more top heavy bell curve. So I want to kind of meet our expectations a little bit. And I know that we have some.
I think that's okay though, because I think they've balanced the leaders a little bit more closely. Right, and I think that that's okay to a certain degree, but we'll see. I'm okay with top of B. I think I may end up moving him up to A tier by the end, but we'll see.
Yep. Now we go World Renouncer.
I think this next one is good.
Yeah, World Renouncer.
World Renouncer. I mean, food update, bro.
Yeah,
that was pretty big. Food update made him, I think, instantly made him stronger. We had him in
D tier.
Where did we have him? We had him in D tier last time. He's definitely not D tier.
That's why I think this is going to be a huge. When I talk about like ones that are going to be jumping a little bit, I feel like a lot of these ones we had in D tier. I'm looking at 3. Him, Pachacuti, Hatshepsut. Like, I think those are all going to be moving up, and I think he makes a pretty significant jump here because of the food changes. I just think population growth is better in Civ right now. Especially as it pertains to, towns being at least serviceable. There's some interplay there as well. So, I don't know. I could see him moving up. I don't know if it's to B. It might be like high C. Could be B.
Oh, I think he's way above that.
Really?
I would put him in A. I think anybody who touches food right now is gotta be A. Like, look, the buildings gaining happiness already is good, right? You are getting... There are more options now as well for tile improvements and everything, like with bigger maps and everything like that, like being able to spread as I think even more relevant at the moment. There is so much more in terms of food and food options, and the fact that, again, he's one of those leaders, he scales with food and happiness specifically.
Yeah.
I think he's really strong, and especially if you're taking off the, like, the idea that he's going to only be used for certain civs, right? Like getting Nepal is really not that great. I know Nepal got a bit of an update, but still, I think World Renouncer is an A. I think he's better now than World Conqueror.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I kind of had forgotten a little bit about the food bit, but I mean, yeah, listen, and this is kind of the beauty of some of these updates is they really have, I think, changed the way you can approach some of these leaders and really opened up some leaders that I had previously just not even looked at playing. So I'd probably put him in that category.
Understandable.
But now we've got a heavy hitter, and I think a leader that has benefited from just about every single update. And I'll admit, I think in a previous tier list, before some of the changes to towns, we had him pretty high, and I think we had a little bit of backlash, a little bit of pushback, and I think it was appropriate. Maybe back then, towns weren't quite as good, willing to own up to that, but now there's significant changes to towns, a lot more value in them, and I think Augustus we had him in S tier. I think he remains top of S tier. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be, I think, he might be the best leader right now in the game.
Yeah.
The town updates are really good. Production is always really strong already. There are more buildings to purchase in some of these towns.
Yeah.
Right? I think the town meta is pretty back, personally. I would be more surprised if he was not in the S tier for everybody. I think he's at the top of it, personally.
Yeah, I could see that too. I mean, I think if you're playing, the only devil's advocate I can think is if you're playing an economic game and you go Golden Roads first in Antiquity and you get the guaranteed cities, you're going to want to just city everything. And that's fair. Like that kind of neutralizes what he does. But I think in any case, he's always been, I think, very strong. I think we've always had him more highly rated than others. So that really doesn't change when there's buffs to what his kit does. So we'll keep Augustus
I completely agree.
in S tier. Now, I think this next one's interesting. Benjamin Franklin, we had him in C tier last time. I think this is one where sometimes when you are not touched by a patch and you see a lot of other leaders getting better, I think this might be bad. I think Ben Franklin could be a D selection now, just because there's a lot else that does what he does, and I think maybe just a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't know. I think influence is still really strong. The Endeavors, being able to have two of them, I still think is pretty good. Where we have him last time, we had him in C.
Yep.
I'd be comfortable with top of C, but I don't know if I could go much lower than that right now. I think that there are definitely some leaders that are weaker than him.
Okay, we can go C. I mean, if we're looking at C tier right now, we just have Amina. Would you rather have Amina or Ben Franklin? And maybe we disagree. I might rather have Amina. I don't know. I mean, they're vastly different, and they're obviously, it's kind of like apples to oranges, but I don't know. I mean, there's other leaders I would rather play with influence. Now, that being said, the double endeavors is nice, and you're not using influence as much for spying anymore, so like that only leaves a few other options, which does help him. But I don't know. We can go above Amina. I'm fine with that.
I'm gonna say above only because, again, her second half is just so wishy-washy, right?
Yeah, fair.
And I think for him, he's a little bit more consistent. That production is really good. That science bonus is solid still. I mean, it's the right here, right? Alone. +1 science per age on production buildings.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
it's true.
Feels pretty strong to me. So I'm okay putting him above her. I don't think I'd move him up more than that, though.
Fair enough. All right, now we have Catherine the Great, someone who last time we had, I believe, in B tier, top of B tier. She felt like, I think, kind of the apex of the bell curve for both of us. I still feel like that could somewhat be the case. I think there is, I don't know, I think there's a little bit more value in being a bit more isolated in the early game now. And so her like starting point, I think, is a slight benefit. It might be marginal, but I think she could easily maintain a top of B. Not sure if you have any other thoughts.
Oh, I mean, she's, I think, a worse Amina, so I'm okay with putting her at top B.
Ada.
Or Ada, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think this is what we said last time. I think there's not a ton to say here. I mean, they're different leaders. They just
haven't done much with great works, right?
Yeah.
Like, great works are fine, but they're not like, they need tuning of some kind. It doesn't necessarily mean they need to be like exponentially better, but I just don't think they fit well with the way that the game works sometimes.
And they're also contingent on having places to house them. I've run into several games where I have been in a good position with great works and just have no buildings for them, and then you're just any ability that you can just lose value based on like a situational thing in the game, like Amina's desert tiles, another great example. It almost is it's hard to give that any positivity for that. So
I couldn't agree more.
We'll move on now to Charlemagne. So this one's interesting. There's been some like nerfs to horses. There's just been some changes to the way like cavalry plays, the way military plays. That being said, though, I now granted, I've been playing Charlemagne on a Let's Play challenge where I spin a wheel to make all my decisions for me. So it's maybe not a good metric, but I don't think he's that bad. I think he's like serviceable, but I think he could move down from B where he was at, or at least to the bottom of B, or at least projected. Maybe C though.
Yeah. I think the fact that like cavalry did get a little bit of a nerf, I think it was maybe just because they were really strong and we didn't notice as much. I don't love using cavalry, so I'm not a huge Charlemagne person. That being said, I do think you're probably right. I think bottom of B is probably fine for him right now.
Let's start there. Some things can move.
I think
around.
that's fine. Yeah, I would say bottom of B is good because who else do we have at bottom of B right now?
In B, we currently have Catherine, Ashoka, World, Conqueror, and then Charlemagne.
Yeah, I'd have Charlemagne below both of them.
Yep,
still above Amina, but yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yep, fair enough. All right, and that's going to bring Confucius up next as the thunder strikes here in Oklahoma. Confucius.
He said his name.
Yep. I don't know. We had him at the top of A tier last time, above Machiavelli, which is, I don't know, in hindsight, a little weird. I think he's still all right. Now, I don't know. I think there are benefits to his kit based on scaling, like the food benefits, I think help Confucius to get specialists faster, to do what he needs to do better. I could see it being like a perceived buff to his kit, even though it's somewhat indirect. Now, I don't know if that moves him up a tier into S. That feels like it needs to be a big jump. And I don't know that it quite is. So I could see an A tier feeling pretty good for Confucius. I don't know what you think, though, Rob.
I mean, if I remember correctly, didn't specialists... Yeah, they got adjusted. That's
right.
I think almost all of them got buffed, if I remember correctly. I'm looking at it right now. I want to make sure I'm remembering this correctly.
I almost remember it the opposite way. I can't remember, though.
Plus 50% food towards maintaining was 100. Yeah. So maintaining them got nerfed or buffed because it's less for that. 25% food and happiness towards maintaining specialist was 50%.
So a bit of a nerf.
A bit of a nerf, right?
But I think that's probably to compensate for the fact that you're going to be getting more specialists faster.
Yeah, I
think, which I think helps him.
I don't think he's... It's just that 25% base growth rate with the food bonus is so good.
Yeah.
He may not like go into the science area as much, Connor, anymore. Like he does a little bit, obviously. I still think specialists are good. But I think putting him anything below A tier is just rough. I don't know if I could do it. I'm fine with putting him at the bottom of A, but I think anything lower than that would be... It'd be hard for me because we didn't see it in our first tier list, but we didn't also really understand how growth rate and everything was going to work in Civ 7 at that time. It's just really strong. Like it plays really well into a lot of different civs in the game right now as well. And so I think just that base stat is good enough to keep him in A for right now. I don't think he's top of A anymore or S tier anymore either. But I do think that like bottom-ish of A is something that I would personally be comfortable with.
Okay, fine with that. He's below the red handband to Ashoka right now, who jumped from D to A tier. So continuing to assert dominance in A tier. Love to see that. Yeah. And now we have the Friedrichs. I forget which one is the blue one. I guess that's Baroque.
That's Baroque. Yeah.
Alphabetically.
Yeah, they both got buffed, I
Yeah.
believe.
I'm a big fan of the Friedrichs now. Yeah, I did a I feel like it was an offline playthrough. Maybe I may have put one video up on the channel of it. But I played, I believe is Baroque. Whichever one was the culture one. I think it's Baroque. And felt very strong. So I think the Friedrichs stonks are way up. We had Baroque at the bottom of B tier last time, and I think it could it'd be an A below Confucius for me, but I do feel like it's still so strong. I mean, I was just printing units. I think at the end of Antiquity I had like 30 military units on the board or something. So I think it can feel really, really good. I think this is when Pangea Plus first came out, was when he was buffed, that update.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
And I feel like he became very, very strong. Again, and like this is the thing though, is like if you have a leader that can provide military pressure while also like buffing a different element of your empire, that feels like it carries a lot of weight, because I feel like before these two got good, I feel like there wasn't much military pressure that also came with like science or culture or something like that, right? Sometimes it just felt like it was pure military and expansion. So I feel like he's pretty good. I feel like this is a very slept-on leader. Both of these Friedrichs are. I can see them both being S or A, maybe not S, but both A.
Yeah, I'm okay to put him in A. I think that's fine. I think Oblique is better at the moment, but I'm okay with putting him in A. I think that makes sense. I think he's A, and then I think because of getting that automatic commander bonus with the merit commendation for Oblique, I'd almost say he's S with the update that he got. I think he's really, really freaking strong.
Yeah. Let's go Oblique. We won't talk about him a ton, but let's put him in S below Ada. So bottom of S.
That's fine.
I mean, we could go above Ada. We could go above. I just don't know.
I wouldn't say that. I haven't played him enough to know for sure, but
this is also a huge jump. We had Oblique in C tier last time, moving all the way up to S. The glow up is real.
That's what happens when they buff you twice, once unintentionally and then again intentionally. So yeah, I'm okay with that. That's fine.
But on the other end of the spectrum now, Harriet Tubman, my favorite leader in the game, has been nerfed. I mean, this one is a little bit old now, but the espionage changes really don't help her. Now, I still feel like this is a good leader. We had Harriet Tubman in S tier, the second highest leader in the game on our last tier list. That feels like an expired ranking, pretty hardcore.
For sure.
My feeling here, Rob, is top of B, but I would be open.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
I just think the war support is still really good.
That's the thing, is it's still insane defensively.
Yeah, she's still very good defensively. I just think that losing half your kit almost to such a big nerf, I think is a big deal. So yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yep, I haven't done a full playthrough with Tubman post nerf, honestly, just because the nerf kind of scared me away from playing her, which is a bit tragic. I should go try it. But anyway, one leader I have played since the update and I felt decent about was Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut we had in D tier, right in the middle of D, so our third worst hero or leader in the game. I keep saying hero, my goodness. But I think Hatshepsut moves up here. I don't think she remains in D tier. Now D tier is empty right now, so someone's got to go there eventually. But I don't think it's her.
No, I don't think it's her either. I think the update to her, the +1 culture per age for unique resources instead of for imported resources,
big.
I think it makes her stronger throughout the game.
Really
honestly,
strong.
I still don't think that I don't think she's really strong. I think she's pretty strong.
I don't know. This is one I might disagree with you a little bit. I think Hatshepsut, if you can go, I mean, here's the thing about resources, is the more you get, the more benefit it is anyway. Now, so it's contingent on having a good seed where you're getting a lot, but getting that extra benefit along with resources just being good flat on their own, I don't know.
Look, I think that it's partially as well that like her second part of it is that she only gets the production if they are next to navigable rivers.
And that part sucks, yeah.
And that part's not exactly great. It's not bad, but it's not like if it was all rivers, I think it would make her a little bit stronger. Yeah. But just because it's only navigable, it makes it a little tougher for me to put her anything higher than B.
That's
right
why.
now, just because I think there are better economic leaders, but I'd either put her top of C or low B personally.
So it feels like the way some of this list is shaking out, just to kind of quickly, meta the list. It feels like a lot of our leaders in B have half their kit that's really serviceable, half that's not, or just are very meddling. We have Tubman there, we have Charlemagne there, right? I think she fits in that same zone. I think she's better than Amina and Ben Franklin, but maybe not by a huge margin. But I've played a Hatshepsut post update, and it does feel really good. At least again, I only have the seed that I have as an example, but I think she could go B above Charlemagne. So basically bottom of B. +1.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. It's good to see her get some love. Her and Egypt both got some love, which I think was needed.
100% agree. We now have the Himikos. I believe it's the Oracle first, or...
Hi, Shaman.
Hi, Shaman. Yeah. Sorry, these two character key arts are so marginally different. I cannot believe that they have continued with this. It makes no sense. Anyway.
It's literally just the crowns are different for the most part.
Yep. So, the High Shaman we had in A tier last time. This is an interesting one. I feel like I could see her moving down just because of some buffs from other leaders, but Himiko has always felt like a leader to me, just to talk about both of them quickly, that have always felt like there's not a huge hook for me to play them. I have some, but... I don't find myself coming back to playthroughs and be like, I'm going to start a Himiko game. Oh my gosh. It's not... And so for a hero or a leader that's not jumping off the page, at least to a certain degree, I feel like the ranking, it can't be amazing. But this could be personal bias too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think... I just don't think that she's as good. Again, I think happiness got kind of an indirect bonus with food. And I think that's good, but I'm kind of remembering now, a lot of her stuff is kind of situational to a certain degree. Plus, you're getting that, -10 science, and you're trying to get celebration, so it's doubled during that. I think you're right. I think that there are other leaders that have surpassed her. So I'd be fine with moving her down. She might be C now. I don't know if it's tough for me to go that far.
When there wasn't a nerf, you know what I mean? Yeah. But
yeah, I'd say C or B, but not too far down. She's not D tier by any in any way. But
let's go with top of C, because this is a lot of my sentiment too. This is another thing, just as tier list makers, something we have to consider is that sometimes it's not a nerf, sometimes it's just sentiment changes, and sometimes it's just the entire landscape changes, right? And so I think both of those things have happened. I think that sentiments have shifted.
I agree.
It's just it could just be stylistically the way you and I play the game. There's probably Himiko, High Shaman players that are killing it,
Yeah.
So that's just the way this goes. And this, I guess, is another thing worth noting is that leaders we put in C and D tier can still be extremely viable. This is more like if you ran a million simulations, our guess of which ones would do the best is kind of what we're trying to do, I feel.
And we have run a million simulations.
We've played the game 2 million times. I'm level 1,000, so I mean it's easy. Yeah. Anyway, Himiko, Queen of Owa. Next, we had her in the middle, or kind of lower middle of B tier last time, below Charlemagne, above Tecumseh last time. I don't know, Rob. I feel like this is another one where it's the same thing.
I've seen a lot of tier lists that have her pretty high. I don't get it, because you can't control friendly or helpful civs for the most part, right? Because you could be at war like that.
Oh, yeah. Almost every game it happens.
That being said, because you can now control a little bit of how the AI plays, right? I'm fine to put them almost next to each other, but I think this one is a little bit better. Just because I do value science a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
I'm fine with top of C. I was going to make a similar point of... See, the thing with the friendly... I feel like, friendly civs and friendliness in this game is so chaotic. And I don't think we should rate based on, tuning the AI to be to be like friendly, like the independent power thing, whatever. So
Yeah, I mean, she does support endeavors for free, though, so you're saving that influence to make people happier and hopefully not go to war with you and maybe just be allies with everybody. I just haven't experienced that while playing against her pretty much at all. So I don't think we can put her lower than B. I'm almost okay just kind of keeping her in the same spot.
Look at us. Read my mind. I was thinking exactly the same, right below Charlemagne in B tier, which currently is bottom of B tier, but I think that will not be the case for the entirety of this list.
I agree.
I feel like for now it's a good spot. We go now to your boy Ibn. Rob's first Let's Play on the channel, Ibn Battuta. I feel like this is a leader that does not really change, will not really change, but benefits again from just being a generalist, very adaptable. This is kind of, we've rang the same bell about Ibn Battuta for a long time. Now, that being said, Rob, I think it's worth noting that with large and huge maps, he's just better, right? So I have no problem moving him up.
I think he's top of A tier, and here's why. I think his trade map is so freaking good. Trade has gotten a huge buff. Economics have gotten a huge buff.
Yeah.
That's really the way to play. I know they call him expansionist wildcard. I will be honest with you. I think economics are the best way to play him personally. I mean, with bigger maps, with trade getting just better in general in the game.
So here
I think he's top of A. I don't know.
Why is he not S, though?
That he's good enough to go S.
I feel like he is. I feel like the way we talk about leaders, I feel like he checks all the boxes. And I mean, I'm okay with a little spice in the tier list. I don't think anyone else is going to have even an S tier. But I think the way I see it is there's a lot more different way. I think the balancing approach is make everything more viable. So like make a lot of flexibility, maybe better. Again, you're going to have to silo and min-max eventually in this game to succeed. Like that's just the way gaming works, the way life works, I guess. So I don't know still. I feel like, again, with the map bit, exploration being at a premium, I could see him being bottom of S tier. I think it could be finally Ibn's day. Now, I'm okay with top of A if you are more against it. You've played him more than me. So
screw it. Put him A or put him S.
Let's go. Let's go. Ibn
has to be bottom.
He is. I think that is.
He's a great leader.
Yeah.
He's such a unique leader, and he's very fun to play.
Yep.
And I think he's just got a lot of stuff going for him. So you're right. And
I
will.
I was gonna say when I play against Ibn's AI, Ibn is a beast. I always run into problems against Ibn in games, so I feel like that says something. He's just juiced.
I mean, when the AI can just see more of what you're doing, it makes it pretty tough.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Okay.
That is his ceiling.
I'm gonna. This Isabella has to be you. I don't.
Sure.
I don't play her as much. I do think that you could go either way. Either you see her as getting buffed or nerfed. You seem to feel like she got buffed. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'm still unsure.
I think this was a buff. Now this is where I'm not a mathematician with Civ. I'm not like, I don't have the calculator out in the game, but I feel like a stacking 50% is really good. Now it is situational. Like you have to like get the wonders to work out in your favor and all that. And like, I just started the Let's Play on the channel, probably going to continue it pretty soon, where I had I was on a huge map, but I had 4 wonders within eyesight within the first probably 20 turns. So I'm like I'm playing as Carthage, trying to get all my colonists out there to settle on those, and had to go to war for one of them, was able to get it. So if I'm able to get those 4, it's 200% yields for almost the whole game. And now, unless I lose them, like that could easily happen, but I can also go like the resort towns. There's new town features that benefit Isabella, and I feel like towns benefit her playstyle because she's going to be spread around the map. She's going to be going for those wonders, and she's not going to make them all into cities. So town specialization just for her, towns being better just for her, and I perceive the change as being a buff, mainly because if you're playing a whole game, it's better in the entirety of the game versus a jolt at the beginning. I'm not that concerned with snowballing in Civ, so I feel like holistic, She is just so much better. I would put her right behind Augustus, above Ada, if it were me. She was above Ada in our last tier list. She was S tier, behind Tubman, above Ada, and I think Tubman's gone. The way is clear for Isabella. That's just me. Rob's stewing over there.
I just feel like she became a little bit. We've been knocking people for map dependency and things like that right now.
True.
Natural wonders, I do think, show up a lot more than they had.
Yeah, I mean, and you could start a game where they're all taken, and you maybe get your starting one, and that's it, and you have to go military, and that could be a really brutal playthrough. Fully acknowledge that. That's where like Augustus is pretty foolproof to that, and like
that's what I was gonna say. I just feel like because she's so. Let me reread this buff one more time.
To me,
give me a second.
To me, the floor is top of A. Now, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with putting her at the floor. But if it were me, if this were Connor's tier list, stonks up for Isabella. Not sure what our player base thinks. And with all of this, y'all, it's a tier list. Let us know in the comments. We expect a good roasting every tier list we release. We don't expect people to agree with us.
All right, I'm fine to put her into S, mostly just because of the fact that you're pretty likely to at least find 2, so you're still kind of getting the same amount. All right.
Imagine
I
you get
reread
3 or 4.
I reread the buff. Fine.
All right, we're going S tier right behind Augustus, above Ada. I think I would rather play as Isabella than Ada, I think. But just personally.
Probably I wouldn't, but
it's fair. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
So you've changed tones, and you used to be a military economy guy. Now you're talking about a culture science leader, like they're the new hotness.
It's just because she's just fits so well.
It's a nice synergy.
It's so satisfying. I like stacking. Stacking is my favorite thing in video games. I just love it.
That you'd love a 50% stacking natural wonder bonus, dude.
I know, and it's just such a risky one.
All right, well, listen.
Hold on, we'll go to Rizal.
I think honestly, you could easily debate the Isabella thing all day. That's totally a fair. I think it's a fair discussion for the Civ community.
While I was debating, I was looking at 2 other tier lists, and literally one of them has her I think in S, and the other one has her in C.
And that's the exact.
So point. It is quite literally just
polarizing. It's just how you view it. Which there's bias. My playthrough went really well, so I'm definitely biased. But I also, speaking of bias, I've wanted Jay Rizzi to be good since this game came out. We had him, Rob, as the worst leader in our last tier list. Bottom of the barrel, bottom of D. Is he still in D tier?
No.
Okay.
He is in C.
Now, yeah, I want to agree, Rob. I do. I want to. But bro, narrative events feel so bad. So bad.
There are more of them now, which I think is good. But like, dude, I don't know. It is per age, I guess. You get an additional 20 per age. So I'm reading that right. By the modern age, if he has survived to that point, it's 60.
Which is pretty good. I mean, but all numbers are bigger in the modern age, so it's kind of like it washes out.
I know, that's where I'm like...
I want narrative events to be good so bad. Like, it's the thing I maybe want most in this game at this point. Like some interesting RNG elements to take over and be like hilariously fun and good to play. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it is. And like, I'm the biggest Jay Rizzi stan there is. No, I'm really not, but like, I love Jay Rizzi. I've always wanted him to be good.
He is fine. He's not D tier anymore. I'll give him that. I just think that there are leaders that I'd rather pick, but...
All right, let's go. Is he
not bad?
Better than Amina? Is he better than Ben and Amina?
I think he's better. Yeah, I would say he's better than them. Just because, think about early game. You are getting a lot of narrative events in the early game, I think. More than really throughout the rest of the game, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. You have to.
I do think that makes him pretty strong early on when you're getting that much gold, I mean, you're completing civic trees pretty quickly. The influence is really nice early game as well. It makes him a little bit more well-rounded.
I'll submit this.
All right.
No, let me. I'm with you. So I actually think that with the boost to pantheons and the changes to religion, if you can go full culture and get ahead and get an ideal pantheon and ideal like beliefs, you can snowball with Rizzy. You can have a very specific cultural playthrough. But I think that is the only way to play him. So that being said, I'd be fine with putting him above Ben Franklin. I'm also just not a big Ben Franklin fan in this game, so I'll rank him as low as I can. You know, I have a vendetta against old Benny, but
I don't think he's.
I think C is fine for J Riz. Man, just narrative events need to be better. He needs like so many more of his own. He should be narrative eventing every turn. If he's not, he's just not getting value. He's not doing what his kit does. If he's not, so it's like that just feels horrible. You know, I don't know. It'd be like Isabella having a whole playthrough with no natural wonders. Like, she just can't do what she's trying to do. So it's just tough.
I think that there are enough narrative events for him to still be solid. I'm okay with it. It's just that they do need to figure out how they're going to balance
a J Riz
I'm
meta
cool
would be it would be so insane to play against. Like,
he'd have to be banned like every single game. But yeah, it's fine. I'm okay with it.
Okay, let's go Napoleon. We've got him in.
We got Lafayette.
Oh, Lafayette. Sorry, yeah, Lafayette. We had him in bottom of C last time. What do you think? Any movement here? That feels okay.
D tier.
Bottom. We have our first D tier member here.
I think it has to be, dude. His unique endeavors are fine. Like social policies are fine, I guess. But like, dude, and then you have to have like he only gets some of his bonuses if they're in distant lands. It kind of just makes you have to almost feel like you need to have a fully split empire or like abandon your main one. Like, I don't know. I've never even seen him in a game that I thought he was very strong either. I think D is fine. I think top of D because I have two other leaders I'll put at the bottom. But yeah, I think it's got to be him.
Yep. Right now, he is our first resider in D tier. RIP, our boy. Let's get to your boy, though. Machiavelli. Another still one that you have played a lot more than me, and we both think is very good. I don't think he was really hit much by anything. I think he just kind of maintained strength.
Other tier lists have him falling. They really do, and I think it's because of the spying portion of it, but I don't think that that's a big deal to me. I think you can use influence in a lot of different ways. I think city-states specifically, now that they're stronger, and the fact that he can levy them even when he's not the suzerain is still really strong.
Yeah.
I personally think he's really good. Now, I think that like there have been other things that have been buffed, but again, like the economy legacy path specifically has been reworked so much to the point where it's already kind of a buff in and of itself. I think Machiavelli is still A tier. Personally, I potentially top of A tier. I don't think he's S tier.
So I would lean a little bit the other way. I would say I think he's bottom of A tier just because he has a contingency where if you're playing with anything with city-states, it's a Tecumseh issue where if all of them get nabbed up, you can't levy anymore. If they're already suzerained, and I feel like that happens usually at like again, games vary, but usually at like the 40% through an age, most are suzerained either by you or by someone else. And so that takes out a part of his kit. Now, I think he's still good. I don't think he's a bad leader at all. So like, even though that can happen, I still think he would, like, we're in A tier, I think pretty solid. I think you and I both agree. With the buffs to Friedrich, I think I'd rather play Friedrich right now than Machiavelli.
I know that they changed city-states a while ago. I don't know, man. I still think that he's pretty good. Who do we have at the top of A tier again?
We have,
I can't see it right now.
Ashoka, Confucius, and then Friedrich. I could see Machiavelli going right in after that. We had him behind Confucius last time in A tier, above some others.
I could see like, all right, I'll put him behind him, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to put anybody above him. Well, that's not true. There are two coming up who I know I will, but that's fine.
We'll put him in between Friedrich and
We'll put him there, and I'll just cry in a corner.
Hey, still an A tier leader, has been since the game came out. I mean, he has, I think, survived just about everything. So, at least in our list. Now we have the Napoleons. We got the red Jacket for I don't know the difference between the Napoleons.
Emperor.
Yeah.
Dude,
we had him in D tier last time.
They got to work on diplomacy. Yeah. They got to work on diplomacy as a whole.
Yeah.
This is by far, in my opinion, I think this is the worst one.
I mean, we had him. He was second to the bottom last time with Jay Rizzy being down there below him. Jay Rizzy is ascended now. So that leaves, someone else has got to wear that hat of the worst leader in the Civ, and I think this could easily be him. So
I think it's both of them. I think Napoleon's both are at the bottom.
Yeah, we had the other one in top of C.
No, not anymore.
What is it? Will you remind me of his abilities? I don't play Napoleon.
Napoleon, the first one is you get the unique sanction.
That's right.
Where you get to cancel the one trade route, which is just
useless.
Who cares? Yeah.
Useless.
And you get +8 gold for every leader that you are unfriendly or hostile with.
Okay.
And you can reject endeavors for free. So, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Napoleon Revolutionary, +1 movement to all land units, which is good. And you get culture equal to 50% strength of the combat strength. So it's not terrible. It's just that, like, with everything else that has been tuned in the game, I think that both of them are at the bottom. I still think Revolutionary is better than Emperor, though. Personally.
Yeah, I think so. I think Revolutionary could be top of D tier.
I like Lafayette better.
You do? Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Suck it, Napoleon.
Yeah.
Eat our dust.
Yeah, your small stature, that's not even apparently historically true.
Well.
But that's okay. Here's a fun one, though.
Yes, I could talk about Pachacuti until the sun goes down. I love this leader. I always have. And finally, Rob, he's good.
He's so strong. He's so strong.
Amazing to play with. I've done some offline with him a little bit. Maybe even some of it was online. I do remember there was one before Civ Unlocks became a thing. I had a ripper of a playthrough with him. I had mountains everywhere.
And you couldn't get to
Nepal. And I couldn't get Nepal because of the Civ Unlocks. I was fuming. I don't have that save pre-age progression. Otherwise, I would go back and unlock it and redo it. But now, being able to do the full mountain playthrough, going into Inca and Nepal, plus all the changes to everything else with the mountain tiles and food and everything else about him being better. The question is, Rob, how high do we go for Pachacuti? Is he absolute top? He was in D tier last time. And still has some dependency with mountains.
I was going to say, the dependency on mountains is still tough, but the production equal to 10% of the city's food is ridiculous.
And there are a lot of
And he doesn't have the costs for specialists that are near mountains. And you're automatically near a mountain. So at least your first city or two. Like, imagine a Carthage playthrough.
Yeah, totally.
Next to a mountain.
Totally.
Like, that'd be insane.
Yeah.
With Great Britain later. That's fun to think about.
I would like to go
bottom of the S.
Oh, okay. Well, look at that. I'm fine with that.
I think bottom of the S, man. Food got a big buff.
Let's do it.
I like it. The dependency is the only thing keeping him from being, I think, really, really, really strong.
Yeah.
But he's there.
This is a tier list with Eben and Pachacuti in S tier. If you're not already a subscriber, I don't know what you're doing. Because this is the best tier list I've ever seen. This is sick. No, I'm actually being serious. This is dope. I love that Civ is in this position where these leaders are good. Good job balancing. Yeah. We can complain about other parts of the game, but balancing wise, this is dope. Just gonna say it.
I agree.
Let's go Simone Bolivar. We had him.
Oh, Mr. Simone.
Top of B last time. I didn't feel too far off.
I think he's C.
Okay.
I think other people are better right now.
So let's think. I guess we have some military. Yeah, the Friedrich's buff actually I think kills his viability. Yeah, let's go top of C.
And he like naturally plays into his own Civ, obviously, and like with horses, cavalry getting a bit of a nerf. I just think that he's okay in C. But where do we put him in C is the big question. I don't remember who all's in there.
I feel like top of C is good. I mean, it's Himiko, Jose Rizal, Ben Franklin, and Amina. And I think some of those.
I'd put him behind Ben Franklin.
That far down? That's like almost bottom.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Oh, I
just don't think he does a lot.
I can't put him behind Jose Rizal.
I can. I think Rizal has better. Dude, he got a buff intentionally.
I know, but
that's the whole point.
But he was the worst. I mean, this is a bit trivial, let's put him behind. I'll concede. I'm not that. We'll put him above Ben.
I just think there are better ways to
Sure.
expand, and I think there are better military units. And
That's fair.
yeah.
All right.
Now here's one, dude. Your boy has gotten every buff under the sun.
Yeah, Tecumseh's awesome, dude.
Dude, he's so strong.
I feel like
Anybody who says that he's anything other than like amazing is out of their mind.
Yeah, I don't know how other folks would rank him, like what other tier lists would say and like what other opinions are, but I feel like Tecumseh has always been strong. I think we joked about in the first list. I was like, I'd put this guy in S tier, and I've always been really, really high on Tecumseh because of the and especially now with the suzerain bonuses. There's way more suzerain benefits out there, so you can just, I mean, again, there's some dependency. You could get into a game and everyone else could already, you could be against Machiavelli and he could already be, suzerain of every city-state around. Like that could happen. But man, I think Tecumseh is very good. Militarily is I think the strongest civ right now.
Yeah, and like let's not talk about the fact that he also got a freaking buff to food.
Yeah.
And you got food and production buffs along with all the city-states that are going to be on your huge maps. I think he's insanely strong right now. He's S tier for me all the way. How far up it, I don't know, but I'm willing to concede. I don't think he's better than Augustus.
Okay, let's go. We'll go through the list here. I think this is an important placement for us. So I agree.
Okay.
But I don't think he is the number one leader. Next, we get to Isabella. Is he better or worse than Isabella? I think, again, if we're doing the thing, like I play this game a million times, and which one am I going to have the most success with the most often? I think it's Tecumseh. And I think I would agree with that with Ada, with the Friedrichs.
Both of the two biggest changes in the big buffs, man. I mean, literally, food in city-states and towns. He got 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that personally.
Do you have those other tier lists handy? Like, I'd be curious where some others have ranked him if you have them on hand. If not, it's Jill.
I got one. So one has him at the bottom of B. Another one has him at the very top of S.
Okay.
So
that's I think this is it's the Isabella question. It's just how you feel about what these leaders do.
I think he's number 2.
Let's do it. I agree. Now,
kind of crazy.
Personally, I would play him over Augustus because I just have never been the biggest fan of Augustus. Like in this game, I don't know.
I just think towns are just ridiculous, and I think he just buffs all the towns. And I mean, when you go with a civ that also buffs towns,
see, I think suzerain status is better than towns if you like somehow could average out their value. But I think that's
there are more that you can guarantee with towns.
That's the whole thing.
States.
That's why I'll yield that I think Augustus is the best, because there's really no dependency on him doing what he needs to do. He just is.
I just can't wait till people look at this S tier and they're like, these guys are out of their damn minds, and I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it.
We have a loaded S tier. We'll take a break and kind of review this before we get to like the finale, and we'll do some maybe moving around. But yeah, what a list!
It's awesome. All right. Trung Trac. Mm-hmm. Let's go. I love her. I still think she's very strong.
We had her.
I've always felt that she is very strong.
We had her an A tier in between the 2 Xerxes that are coming up next. Last time, I don't feel like that's awful, but in the face of some of the other military options that are now available, I could see her stocks kind of wavering, but she's still really good. I mean, her ability is just flat good.
3 promotions on your first army commander.
It's crazy.
That army commander is going with you through the game, and is gonna have a lot of promotions automatically.
Yeah, and you can do so many different things with that. You could go the far right, like I forget like what it's called, like the leadership tree, where you're just like parking it on a city. You don't even have to necessarily play militarily with Trung Trac. You can play like to buff your yields and stuff. Or you can obviously go like merit, go down the red tree and just become a kind of a wrecker pretty quickly. So yeah, a lot of optionality, even though it's a pure military leader.
And she can stack science, which I think science and military go really well together. I'm okay with like a B. I think you're right. There are some better options out there, but I think an A or a B tier for me.
I think
somewhere in that range.
I think it's got to be A. I'd rather play her than Harriet Tubman.
I'd agree.
So let's go bottom of A. I think Friedrich oblique is who's right above, and I think that's probably pretty fair. I think it's oblique. Might be Baroque. I think actually it's Baroque. But I don't know. Let's go above that Friedrich. Never mind. Anyway.
Okay.
Xerxes, King of Kings. First up.
King of Kings. I don't think he's as strong as we had him last time. I still think he's very strong. I think he's A tier.
Yeah. I could see.
I still think he's A tier because where do we have him? I gotta remember.
We had him bottom of A last time. I think he could stay right
that's
there.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Because I think Xerxes the Achaemenid got a buff.
Yep. Now we have Xerxes the Achaemenid. And yeah, I think this has always been my favorite economic leader in the game. And I think now he's just better. So this could be a top of A? Bottom of S? Mid S? I think mid S is the ceiling.
Who's at the bottom of S right now?
That's Pachacuti. Our boy.
Okay, top of A.
Yeah. I'm chill with that.
Yeah. I mean, he's right there though, dude. Those bonuses again for towns for him specifically, like he's already got the +10 trade range. This dude can trade everywhere.
He's a beast, a true beast. All right, we're back. Sorry, I had to take a quick break. I wanted to send Rob a screenshot of the tier list so we could see it. We kind of did like 2 seconds of talking. We're back. Want it to be mostly candid, live, so we're in. Reflecting on this tier list, Rob, I think we should each get to make a change. I think both of us should get to, without consulting the other one, what is your most passionate change? So I don't want to put you on the spot, so I'm happy to start if you want me to. Otherwise, if you have one off the rip, we talked about one a little bit offline. If you want to go for that one, either way. What are you thinking?
I think that's the one I have to go with.
I'm fine.
I think I want to move Ben up. He's not B tier. I still don't look like I consulted with other tier lists as well because I want to make sure that maybe if there's something we're missing, anything like that, right? They all have him in like A high B. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I still think that there are things that he needs that could help him.
Sure. I'm fine with the middle, like a mid B tier.
I can't. I don't think that even is. He's either bottom of B or top of C for me.
Let's
in between the Himikos. I don't care which one. I'm okay with keeping him in C, but he just can't for me be lower than like he's better than Jay Rizzy, man. I do like the buff to him, but he's still better than him. He's better than Simone right now. Probably better scientifically, right? If we're trying to do a comparison, I think we have High Shaman there. Yeah, I think he's slightly better than.
I put him bottom of B.
High Shaman. So
I think it should be you get to go up one or down on the tier. So let's just go bottom of B. That's fine.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Chill with me. For me, this is a tricky one. There's a lot here that I like. There's a lot here I don't like. When we talked for a sec, I mean like 30 seconds offline, I was considering moving Amina down to D, but I feel like looking at our tier list, we have 7 leaders in S, A, and B tier, and then just a few down at the bottom, which honestly, if you're looking at a game's balancing, I think this is pretty good. We're basically saying that most of the game feels pretty viable right now, and I think that's pretty fair. I think outside of the 7 leaders we have at the bottom, you can play just about anyone and feel good about it.
I'd agree.
That being said, I want to create at least some kind of a bell curve, and I want to take someone off of S tier. Now, the question is who? The question is who, Rob? Because I love our S tier. It's stacked. We have Augustus, we have Tecumseh, we have Isabella, Ada, Friedrich, Eben, Pachacuti. That's a great group. Now, as much as I love Pachacuti, I think there is a world that we need to put him at the top of A tier. Now, listen, I will sing this guy's praises all day, but we put a lot of critique on like map dependency, and there is a world you just don't get mountains, and he's a floppy fish. And I've played some games where at least AI Pachacuti was terrible. He would get eliminated from, I watched him get eliminated from like 2 or 3 games I played in a row. Now that, again, that's just AI being AI. In the hands of a truly skilled Civ player like Rob and I, it probably thrived, but I kind of want to move him down to top of A, sadly. What do you think?
You're breaking my heart, but I can't disagree with you. That's
Yeah.
the whole point of this. So I will have to allow you to do it.
Listen, I debated this because I'm between him and Friedrich, but it feels weird because it's totally just based on my perception of the character. I just love Pachacuti as a leader, and I just want him to be good. And I'm trying
That's
to
fair.
strip away the ego and just look at him and be like, I just think he's top of A. So I hate to be. I hate that that's my change. I loathe myself for it. I have a deep hatred of myself for making that move, but I'm still gonna play him every time I get a chance to. So this is the list, Rob. Overall thoughts here. I feel like this is a pretty good representation of where the game's at least in the way we see the game. But it's a tier list. I'll say the usual stuff. We expect people to disagree. We know people will. That's the whole part of tier lists. Is they're meant to kind of spark discussion. We hope developers see this. We hope that like other creators see this, other fans, so that it can just continue to be a discourse in the community. That's so much of what this is about. I feel like this is a cool one though, because we saw a lot of leaders rise that were not previously doing well. That shows some actual balance changes have happened. Now we've had some leaders at the top for a long time. That's where I'd like to see it go the other way. Like, let's see an Augustus nerf. Let's see an Ada nerf maybe. I don't know that there would be much more that I would want. Like, Isabella just got reworked. I think that could still take some time. Tecumseh maybe could get a nerf, but I want him to be good, so I also don't want that. But overall, I think this is a pretty cool list. Cool to see Ibn Pachacuti, especially at the top.
Yeah, no, I think that we are rewarding good changes. I think also we are rewarding things like with Eben, right? Like he's fitting, the game is going more towards, open ability to kind of play whatever you want, whatever you're feeling. And I think that makes Eben extremely strong. And then I think, with a lot of these other leaders, like we're going to get buffs for them, but you got to remember too, it's also on like usage, right? To a certain degree. And if we're looking at some of these bottom tier leaders, I have to imagine their usage is kind of low in general, right?
Yeah.
I think we might see and then it's also about where is the game going. I think diplomacy is going to get a huge buff, a huge change here soon. I could see both Napoleons kind of getting changed alongside that. I think religion, they've already talked about, is going to have a huge change. If you think both Himikos, specifically Hive Shaman, obviously, are not going to potentially be affected by that, crazy,
definitely.
right? Like I think they'll change that out. So there's a lot of things that like are at the bottom. Like I think I could see Ben Franklin getting a buff here soon. Even though I know we're probably the lowest on him of everybody, but there are just a lot of leaders that I think you got to remember. My last little point here as well is you got to look at, and this is the way we do, who is better than who within the categories that they're supposed to be in.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where I take a lot of considerations when I'm thinking about this, right? Because in all reality, like you've talked about, most leaders in this game could be S if you play everything perfectly in the way that they are supposed to be played. Just that, RNG, AI, even playing against other people, a lot of that stuff can be easily countered or changed. So,
yeah. I agree. I mean, it's exactly well said. I mean, that's exactly why I have Ben lower. Is I feel like if you're playing an influence-centered game, he's just not who I'd want to play necessarily. And that's just, again, personal preference, maybe just our take on the game. But
all of the influenced leaders went down pretty much because
except for Tecumseh.
Spy changes and a few other things. Yeah, Tecumseh was because of city-states.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, got kind of nerfed a little bit unintentionally with all the buffs to everybody else. So,
but that is, I think, going to do it for us here on this list. Definitely let us know your thoughts in the comments. We will absolutely, as soon as Right to Rule comes out and we get some new leaders in here and probably some more balance changes, expect another one of these. We try and keep one going, roughly every month to just kind of give our take on the ebbs and flows of the game, respond to balancing, all that. But otherwise, we're kind of settling into the post 1.2.2 world. If you have any content suggestions, things you want to see from us, we're always open to it. We make these videos for you, for the community, and we really appreciate the feedback on the channel. We've gotten a lot of subscribers over the last few weeks, and we just really appreciate the support. Still loving the game, and happy to keep making content. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and from our house to yours, we hope you'll join us for one more turn here at Civ House. We'll see you next time.